Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy to welcome you to this conversation after Beyond the Lines and worldwide online screening. My name is Anna Mago, and I'm the director of Documentale, a Berlin-based media and documentary film festival. I'm very happy to introduce you now to our guests tonight, Anna Mago, who is the host, Mahnaz Mohammadi, who is our director of the wonderful film Together with Many Anonymous Voices, and Shadi Sadr, a human rights lawyer and human rights activist. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for joining us tonight, for taking this conversation on, as emotional as it might be, and for explaining us maybe being here, what it means to protest an internet shutdown. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Anna, for the introduction, and also I think from all of us, thank you very much to you and the team at Documentale for making this possible. We started this at the beginning of the internet lockdown because we felt that we wanted to help amplify the voices of Iran's protest and shed light on what happens when the regime cuts the internet, and try to shed light on what the regime actually tries to hide. So thank you very, very much. Thank you all for joining us from around the world. It's been a bit of an experiment on short notice with no budget and very little resources. So it's great that it worked. And welcome also from me, Mahnaz Mohammadi, award-winning director and human rights advocate who has been very active on human rights in Iran for many, many years. Thank you for making the time. And equally, thank you, Shadi, for joining us. You're an exiled lawyer and human rights activist from Iran, very active in exile in various NGOs, and as we saw just now in the tribunal. Thank you so much for taking the time. Also, for all of you joining us online, you also have the chance to ask questions, and we encourage you to do so. It's really a rare and special occasion to have such amazing women and experts here with us. You can either do so via YouTube on the comment function, or alternatively, Anna kindly will monitor her mail account via email, and the email address is, grab a pen and I'll wait for a second, mail@thegoodmedia.net. I repeat, mail, M-A-E-L, @thegoodmedia.net. So Anna will from time to time bring in the questions, and I understand we have 2 live screenings, one in Freiburg, hello to Freiburg, and one in Vienna. So we're very pleased that there are also other places where screenings are taking place. I think it's a difficult time to do a talk about this topic today because, ironically, because the internet is slowly coming back and the reports that reach us are even worse than what we expected. Friends, social media, NGOs, and news outlets report the deaths of tens of thousands of people. People have been murdered, injured, and disappeared. So before we start, we would like to invite you to join us in a moment of silence to commemorate those who have died in the past days. Thank you all, and so with no further ado, I want to start and enter in the Q&A session, and start with you, Mahnaz. Why was it so important to you to screen this film now, and also you can tell us a bit how this film came about and how it was shot, and why this was such a special part in the Iranian protest movement?
Thank you so much at first from both of you, because without both of you, it was not possible. All the doors, sorry, all the doors to broadcasting this film, it was closed. At least all the governmental states in any countries, I think maybe because of the legal problem, they don't want to screen this film. At first, they want to verify who's the witness. And Shadi can explain us why we can't give all those information or any broadcast. Because at first, all of us, we are caring about the who's put their own body and they came and as a witness, you know. There was no door to screen this film, except both of you opened, you know, in this time, which is, how can I explain? We don't have enough energy even to do our little works at home, you know. I'm not able to do anything these days. What we are seeing is horrifying, you know. I remember I was in Tehran. I was watching Aban Tribunal from Tehran, 4 days online. It was first time in my life I was seeing real court, how could be, because for several times I was in the jail and in detention, they detained and they gave me they gave the verdict even without going to the court. In court, just only I remember they humiliated. It was horrible. It was the first time in Tehran, by my eyes, I was seeing how the court could be, you know, how you can defend yourself. But at the same time, I was thinking, all those people, when they used your body as evidence and they came on the online from inside Iran to show to give the own, you know, witnesses or own evidence to the whole world to understand what's happening. And exactly through Shadi, I learned after the Green Movement, Islamic Republic deleted so many of the videos which is people publish it in the internet. It was a time I thought we shouldn't clean this crime, you know. We have to make a film. We have to keep it for our memories, for history. And that time I was thinking it was horrible to make a decision to make it this film, because when you are making such a film, you can leave like before in Iran at all. And sorry, maybe I'm a little bit not so, how can I say? I'm not so much okay tonight because I saw the new picture of Iran, because as you said, there's a little internet. Anytime we are getting the new footage, even worse than the days before, you know. And for us, it's like we are every day dying, you know. For me to showing the film in this time, it was because I was thinking for everybody just cutting the internet, something's, you know, not understandable. And I was thinking, and the cutting the internet is kind of the design and structured how the violence happened in the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And in this film, I'm giving the shape of the Islamic Republic, exactly who's the Islamic Republic. In this film, layer by layer, you will understand who's giving the order to kill the people. And you know, Islamic Republic, they are never responsible for their act. For me, that time I was thinking, what can I do? All the doors open, I can't go even film, I can't do nothing. But when the door is open, suddenly you're switching the other direction. You will find actually your work starts exactly from this time when all the doors is open, like you both opened the new door. And that time when I saw I couldn't go and record it, because always they are following you. They are, you know, kind of my life always like 25 years was under the control of this regime. And then I realized, okay, doesn't matter. If I can't record it, I will use your evidence. Whatever the Islamic Republic leaders, not the analysis, not the, not the other, what the leaders said about the Alban tribunal through their, through the watching their words, through their gaps, through the everything, so you will understand what is under the layer in that. And I decided to bring the Iranian state televisions, all those leaders with the witnesses together, and to just to show just to give the chance the audience by themselves get the truth. Just we are showing what happened. For me, 2019 when the petrol increased 200 times and the people came street. I was in Tehran. I remember most of the the worker class, most of the people, they came in the street, they were really poor, have nothing in their life. They came just for protest, and they killed them. And I in this time I'm thinking this film shows how the structure of this violence. I think it's the best time for people to understand why the internet shutdown is so important. Because after the shutdown the internet, actually the real violence starts after that.
Thank you so much. I think you are you're very clear and very focused, and it's very understandable that this is a difficult time. So it's really amazing that you still managed to be here. Thank you. And thank you also for making it so easy to moderate, because the point you brought up is very much the state narrative of the protests was that people were looting, they were not protesting, they were violent, they were breaking things. So, and I think it was very powerful, the contrasting of the state TV communication and the very clear and thorough recordings of the Alban tribunal. So Shadi, maybe you can share with us a bit, how did this tribunal came about? What was your role in it? And why do you consider it to be so important?
First of all, thank you so much for organizing this event and film screening, and I'm really grateful. And I think it's a very timely event, because we have witnessed another wave of nationwide protests started in December last year, and then another brutal crackdown on protesters, this time in a much larger scale and with much larger size and number of victims of these atrocities. But the patterns are the same, as you saw and also heard from the witnesses in the documentary. The techniques used in suppressing protest, the state narrative, the victims' demands and wish for a free and democratic Iran, they're all the same. And that's why I think the film gives the audience an opportunity to have a better understanding of what is going now in Iran at the moment. When the November 2019 protest took place, which was abruptly suppressed by the regime following a blackout and a total shutdown of the internet, we and as a human rights organization, Justice for Iran, started documenting the events, the atrocities, the killings, the torture, the cases of enforced disappearance, the use of lethal force against protesters, against nonviolent unarmed protesters. And then because our organization, Justice for Iran, in our organization, we not only focus on documenting human rights abuses, but also we document perpetrators. And we, after carefully documenting the events, we came up with a list of, I think there were like over 30 perpetrators. And then we, with that list and the reports and all of those evidence, we went to the EU and UN, asking them to hold those perpetrators accountable, and also the entire state. And then so we faced with a kind of like non-responsive response, non-action at all. And because the Islamic Republic was in the middle of another round of negotiation over nuclear case, so the EU didn't want to jeopardize the negotiation. And there was no one, almost no one in the international community which wanted to take any meaningful and effective action. But at the same time, the demand for accountability from the families of the victims, and also from those who were injured or detained and tortured during the events, were so high. And that's why we thought that, okay, so at least we need to do something that at least counter the narrative of the state, at least set the records right, at least give the victims and witnesses a platform to tell their stories. And because I personally was involved with a few international people's tribunals, one on Indonesia, the other one on China, and the one on Myanmar, I was quite familiar with this kind of people-driven justice and accountability mechanisms. So together with a few other NGOs, we established International People's Tribunal on the 2019 atrocities, or better known as Aban Tribunal. Aban is, I don't know if you captured in the film, but Aban is the Iranian name for November. Almost. And then, so we invited 7 renowned international lawyers to be our judges. They have done amazing job, as you saw in the film, on a pro bono basis. They spend, I don't know, countless hours listening to the witnesses, evaluating evidence, but before they started their work, we made a call for witness, and we expected around 50 witnesses to come forward. And then over a course of a week after our first call initiated, we received over 250 witness requests, or requests from people who wanted to testify before the tribunal. And then so it became something much bigger than we expected. This is the story of why and when the Aban Tribunal started. And I would be glad if there is any specific question about the tribunal to answer.
We actually have a few questions already. Maybe Anna, you can choose 3 for and share them with you, and then we split them up depending on who they go to.
One for Mahnaz in particular, which is on the kind of filmmaking you did, because you worked lots with social media material and then with the shooting from the trial, how you chose the material and how you did find the material you worked with, in particular on the protests. I think that is very interesting. And Shadi, for you, we had actually 2 questions also. There are more for Mahnaz, but I would start with those 3. The first one is, are you planning a second tribunal now after those events? And if you look at the last tribunal and what it meant for the Iranian civil society, What do you think was the biggest impact on it?
Shadi, go ahead.
Okay. So at the moment, because the events have happened so fast, and as Mahnaz mentioned, I guess at the moment we can certainly say that all of us Iranians are very traumatized, and it's very difficult even to keep up the ordinary task and works that you have to do, even going outside and I don't know, shopping or something like this. But at the moment, our main priority is to document the details of victims, because we expect even with the like now that internet is slowly coming back, we have received, I don't know, we have received a big amount of evidence, and also requests from families of the victims to just document the details of their loved ones. And that's why we quickly created a database of those who lost their lives during the atrocities that took place mainly on the 8th and 9th of January this year. The database is called Yadar, and anyone who is interested in knowing more about the victims, um, uh, who they were and what they wanted, so they can visit the database and the website. It's run by a group of volunteers. All of us are voluntarily working on the website, and the group is becoming bigger and bigger. But still, we are very, very much behind completing the task. If something like a second tribunal would come out from this or other initiative, I don't know yet. I'm not sure. But what I'm really sure is that accountability and justice would be one of the main demands of those uh, who lost their loved ones. And as activists and human rights lawyers outside Iran, it's our priority at the moment to find the best way to achieve that. They're not very, like, we don't have many options, but I think it's just we are in a very early stage of evaluating our options. And in terms of the impacts of the tribunal, the Aban tribunal, as Mahnaz mentioned, the tribunal's hearings were broadcast towards Iran during its 5-day hearings in London. It means that millions of people inside the country were watching the testimonies, the witness testimonies, and what was going on during the sessions of the tribunal. And I think that it created a massive impact on the population only to know the details of what happened during the 2019 the November protest and the internet shutdown. Because internet shutdown, one of the reasons that the government places internet blackout, is to disconnect people, Iranian people, from each other and also from outside world. So if, for example, a protest were taking place in one city and the atrocities were taking place in one neighborhood of that city, it didn't necessarily mean that other people even in that city, or that even and also in other cities, would know what happened, the details of the atrocity. So what Auburn Tribunal did was just, and then at the same time, people were bombarded with the narratives of the government that the protesters were not non-violent, the protesters were a bunch of terrorists or agents of the US or Israel or other foreign states like the UK, and they wanted to, for example, set fire on petrol stations, banks, and also destroy people's properties. So I think what Auburn Tribunal did was just raising awareness in a national level about what happened in 2019. And also then with that knowledge, with that awareness, I think that awareness had an impact on what happened in 2022 during Women Life Freedom protests. Because injustice and also violence creates a sense of anger. And you hold this anger with yourself, and you, even if that event, or if you were not target with that atrocity, so you feel that anger, the same anger that we as Iranian now are feeling towards the Iranian regime. So, and that anger and the sense of seeking justice and accountability, I think millions of Iranians took it from the Auburn Tribunal and the awareness and the knowledge, and brought it about during the 2022 protests and even here. So this is just not a plain awareness of, for example, a citizen of a country outside Iran that, okay, so I'm now aware that what the Iranian government did during 2019 protests. The awareness amongst Iranian means something different because, okay, so we now know what they did to innocent protesters. So then what? We need to seek ways to get rid of this criminal regime.
Right.
How? So we took to the streets. And I think that, I'm not saying that the 2022 protest or the current protest was totally an impact of the Auburn Tribunal. It's just very stupid saying that, but I think Auburn Tribunal had an impact on the following protests.
Mahnaz, do you want to take over on how you were working on film?
Yeah, sure. I think the power fears so much from image. I think if the image survives, definitely the truth survives. Truth. Because all those image already exist in the internet. You can find out there. Anything's in the film, you can find in the internet, but it's the huge, enormous of the footage, and you have to deal with that. This is the main source for me to make the film, internet. Whatever the people grabbed and they took by their film, by their phone, and they put on the internet, that's why they are afraid by the internet. Because when they are putting there, somebody like Shadi, like me, like you, we are grabbing and making own films. But in this time, I was thinking maybe better to bring the Islamic Republic through the states as evidence in this film, and just gather together to find the gaps and contradiction, whatever in this, and the audience through themselves, they can judge it, they can compare it, they can understand what is the truth. Actually, here, audience is not passive for me as well. If you are looking for the footage, easily any of those footage in this film, you can find in the internet. But how to use it, how to narrate it, is the way we choose to tell the story, by the bringing both, which is the Islamic Republic, as I told you, is not accountable for responsibility at all. For this reason, you need to find a way still to continue tell the truth. Actually, tonight, I was watching the new footage from Iran, which is heartbreaking. I think anybody watch this footage, they can live like before. That's all. The footage, just tonight we saw it. I never saw in our tribe, I never saw before. Tonight, I'm telling you, the whole world, they must understand, still What we are hearing is nothing, is the, is the part of the little what you are seeing right now. Today, just we got the so many message from Iran, still so many people is missing. Still so many, in so many hospitals, still they are killing. I need the footage. If I saw it, I will start to narrate it. I think everybody can do it. Just I did because I'm thinking the regime afraid by all those footage. That's why they are breaking our cameras. They are not letting to do anything. The only way, look at what's happening around you. Definitely, you find your way to narrate the story.
But I think I disagree that everybody can do this, because definitely I could not, but I think many others also couldn't. But it also takes a lot of courage to do this, because I mean, you have been targeted repeatedly. So forgive me if that's a very personal question, maybe, but what gives you the courage to do this and to do this kind of films?
I had a chance when we were so little, for so many years. I remember my first documentary I wanted to make it. It was definitely Shadi remembers, Je Mesle Jombesh. It's like meme, like movement. And since that time with Shadi, we were working together. I was just documenting. She was working as a, I remember that time, Shadi and Shadi's group helped the 12 women from stoning. I was just documenting. I think that time it was amazing. I'm telling the young generation, you have to have a good group around yourself. For such a person, and all those girls around us, we finding the courage. I think women's gaining by each other all those courageous and power to do that. If I'm going to back, we have the same route. If she find the courageous to make it this urban tribunal, of course, for so many years we are together. Of course, I can do exactly the same what she did. I think the Islamic Republic is afraid by us because we never leaving each other alone. When she's doing, actually, I love to tell you my wishes after the Islamic Republic to give all the traditionary everything to somebody like Shadi, because she's, we know each other for so many years, but she's amazing because whatever she does, definitely, I'm sure she's so precise. She's checking every minute, every details. As a filmmaker, I'm so happy to have such a, with those people around me, I find to do that. And I should tell you, this film doesn't have a title. Why that doesn't have a title? Because so many people inside Iran, when I was inside Iran, I started working on that with some of the colleagues. But even we have a huge, enormous pictures. And so, there is so much talking. And it was so painful. I was afraid a little bit through this pain. I couldn't manage it. Actually, that time I asked one of my colleagues, I told him, could you come just help me? Because I know the structure, but it's too much. And I'm thinking a little bit overwhelmed, but just go through the pain. I don't want, I want to keep on the, as a witness, all those. And so many people inside Iran helped me to make this film. If this courageous exists because of these people around me, I think without them, it was not possible.
I think this is a very hope and inspiring answer to this question. I'm looking at the time, it's getting late. So I think I would like to invite the audience again to ask questions. Anna, do you want to select a few questions maybe?
We have a few, and I'm trying to summarize them into like 3 or 4 questions maximum. The first question, I think, which is really important for both of you, but maybe we can put it at the end then, was, what do you wish from the international community? What is your hope? How solidarity and how support of the Iranian civil society could look like? I think that's something we always ask ourselves if we see people under repression trying to change and protest for change. So I thought like this question came up in various version several times. The other question was a rather political one, and I'm trying to summarize it in a way. We have seen quite recently popping up Reza Pahlavi in Western media very outspokenly. What is your perception of him within the protests and within civil society? Because I think for many it has been rather surprising from the outside, from a very Western perspective. At least that's what I've heard and also now read in the mail. And then the last one was, or not the last one, but one I thought was interesting is that in the film you have many people with covered faces, but then you have a few also who are giving witness who show their faces. Does that mean that they all live in exile? And how dangerous is it to appear in a documentary? And how much does the state track it in a way? So I think I summarized the most of the questions.
Thank you so much, Anna.
Thank you, Anna Jan. Shadi Jan,
You
which one
first.
you are answering? Which one you are answering?
I don't know, international community, Pahlavi, maybe?
Maybe Pahlavi for me, international for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Short one. So
Be
how they
Pahlavi for me. No,
okay, go ahead. I'm curious.
go, Shadi Jan.
I thought you would,
Okay, I
okay.
tell you about the Pahlavi.
Okay. So
Everybody,
because Anna said that the international community question should be answered at the end.
okay, about the Pahlavi, you know, for so many years, working as a documentary filmmaker in that society, I think 4 years ago or 5 years ago, I tweeted, that time the X doesn't exist, tweet was exist. I tweeted and I told everybody, listen, I'm inside Iran. I'm telling everybody Pahlavi has 65% of the votes. Because I was living there, I was going everywhere. I was going for the doctor, for the shop, everywhere. I was seeing the people advertising, you know, advertising Pahlavi. It was so interesting for me how suddenly became like that, you know, what happened? It was a question for me. And you know what? I'm a little bit these days sad because some of the critics calling them is the not mature people. Sometimes they are saying they are not knowledgeable, going for the monarchy or some things like that. I'm a little bit getting upset because I'm thinking, as a Shadi said, we are traumatizing, you know, we traumatize these days. I'm telling you, these people, when they are chanting, when they are asking about Pahlavi, is the big question, why Pahlavi? Why not somebody else? There is so many, other opposition definitely, they are also capable to get this. But unfortunately, they couldn't make the trust on the people because they don't have enough media, they don't have enough, you know, enough money even to share their ideas or everything. When the people inside Iran, you are watching them, can't imagine when you are earning $80 per month, $80 per month, and they are spending exactly what we are spending here, exactly the same. How these people can live. And after so many years, just imagine the Iranian people after the Islamic Republic, suddenly we lost who we are. We became collective, faceless people, which is just that we have to follow what they are ordering to us as a regime. I think all those years, the people lost their dignity, everything. Iranian people is not the, how can I say, it's, when you're talking about the Iranian people, you have to be careful. It's like the pain, it's like the, you know, the pain you already all of their bodies, they have it. When they are talking about that very easily, everybody's getting upset, getting angry. And I'm thinking the Pahlavi has so much votes because their table was empty, but just the TV satellite, they were watching what's happening in the before. They were showing kind of some principle, something, some dignity exists before, but they don't have right now. When the people wanted, I spoke with the young generation, why him? Why not the other one? Not to criticize, just it was a question for me. And I got to understand the only person when you are in the trauma, when you are in the pain, and when your ID is shattered, you don't have any ID for yourself. If you are living in the trauma, definitely you are grabbing something familiar for you. What the people can trust, what the people can see it through through the broadcast, it was the Pahlavi, nothing else. There is nobody else to give the program to the people, blah, blah, for example, cultural leftists always, I'm asking guys, give us your program. What is your program? What is your plan for the people? Even they are not together. And just yesterday, from the guys, when he's every day in the street, one of the friends of some of our friends, which is they are the student, whatever he was talking, he was saying, whatever I'm talking, I'm bringing from the cafe. In the cafe, we are thinking the Pahlavi is the only face we are seeing him. There is no another face. And the Pahlavi, and we are thinking for this transmission, we need it. After that, the people must make a decision. And I thought, oh my God, maybe it's a time for us to listen the young generation, what they are building for themselves. Sometimes some of my friends, they thinking they should guide them, to tell them what is good, what is bad, but they are living there. They are going to university. My niece, my nephew, everybody, I'm seeing everybody in the university, I'm hearing they lost their friends. They have nobody. They lost their friends, even they don't have their body. I'm hearing this day so many people sending the pictures, videos, everything through the past. They have my numbers. And even I don't dare to tell them, I'm not giving myself this there to tell them what is good, what is bad. It's the time for me to listen to them, what they want. I can't guide them. I can't tell them what is bad, what is good. Because by their life, by their experience, what exists on the plan, just as a leaders, there is a couple of the position, couple of the, opposition inside Iran, outside of Iran. But, the only face they find is him, and they trust him. He made their trust, he gained their trust. I believe that because there's so many people, I never believed that they have a, sympathy to the Pahlavi. But the last couple of days, with little message coming from Iran, I was asking, are you was in the street? I said, of course. Everybody. These days, I never heard anybody, they were not in the street. And I was asking why you went to the street. Yeah, because Pahlavi asked, because we wanted. Barely they are saying like that. Why he's there? Because, 10 years, it was a satellite channel. Every day when we were losing our dignity, they were showing how our life was in the past. When you're in the trauma, our life, just the other days, I told the other journalists, I said, our life is not the post-trauma. We are living itself. Our life itself is the trauma. Just we are waking up. We're waking up by the, I remember after the Mahsa, when they start executing the young generation, the sign of the azan before for us, it was sign of the to wake up. But after the Janjian Azadi, this sign became of the sign of the execution. Just imagine you're hearing all the time. It's like torturing all the time. And you're asking these people to choose whom. They are looking who's there, who's exists. But the only person had the money, had the power, had a media, everything, and made it really, really, he gained the trust because I'm living in Iran. I'm not leaving abroad just for the short time to finishing those projects. I'm here. When you are there, you can't imagine the life, how is miserable. You know, the people get poor and poor. The only things when you are in the end, you know, base of the base, you're really, really in the low level of your power, your everything. You're choosing some things a little bit familiar, gives you a little bit perspective of your life, because there is no future in Iran, not at all.
Thank you so much, Mahnaz. Shadi, Jan, do you want to?
Yeah, first, I'd like to add something about Pahlavi because Mahnaz Jan let me disagree with you because to some extent
Not my
because
opinion. I'm just reporting what's happening.
yeah, I'm also reading what has happened, but a little bit different reading of yours. I think as Mahnaz mentioned, Pahlavi's movement has um, has grown to a very considerable extent over the past few years. Not only because there was no alternative, but also because of the again, as Mahnaz mentioned, the power of the mainstream media, supported by Saudi Arabia, Israel, and other powers, and also the fact that the Islamic Republic has effectively suppressed any leading figure who could, in any kind of these events, lead the movement from inside. I'm talking about people who are now either inside the country, either in jail, in detention, or have been silenced through threats, intimidation, or so on and so forth. So I don't think that Pahlavi's movement is an organic movement. It hasn't grown organic, and we have been witnessing that. That's one thing. The other thing that we need to think about that is that Iran and people of Iran is not singular, is not homogeneous. There are so many people who publicly disagree with Pahlavi and his agenda, mainly ethnic minority groups. So you can barely see that kind of popularity amongst ethnic groups. And also Pahlavi at the same time have refused to work with any kind of ethnic minority groups and organization who are very well organized, who are very well, who can represent the constituencies very well from outside Iran. The other issue that I want to add is that even in the protest, even in the middle of the protest that was called by Pahlavi, because one thing that we shouldn't forget is that the protest started before Pahlavi called for that, and then Pahlavi made a call, and the protest got more popular in the days that he made that call. But even within those protests, we didn't hear a homogeneous voice. There were other voices that have been shut down, I think deliberately, by Pahlavi's supporter and also the media who support him. For example, I just make one example, which I think is very telling. Rahab Ohluli is a 22-year-old student in Tehran. She studied Italian language in the University of Tehran, and she had very active social media accounts on Twitter, on Telegram, so on and so forth. And then on the 8th day, she was shot to death in one of the protests in Tehran. In her Telegram channel, she had like her two last posts on her Telegram channel is one is that she says, "Forever, woman life freedom is my motto." She didn't say, "Long live the Shah, the king." She didn't say, I want Pahlavi to return to Iran. And then in the previous post of hers, which was posted like a day or 2 days before her death, she posted an article about Pahlavi's plan for the transition period. And she said, I think this is what she wrote. The Pahlavi's plan, Mr. Pahlavi's plan for the transitional period is just replacing a dictatorship with another one in the time of crisis. And I think voices like Raha is just are there. The fact that we don't hear them doesn't mean that they don't exist. Another account that I just very much like was an account of a group of feminists in Tehran who went to the street, who participated in the protest, who were against the Islamic Republic as much as the others, and who found themselves alone in the streets with the slogan "Woman, Life, Freedom." But then people didn't repeat their slogan, unfortunately. The slogan that was repeated by many people only 2 years ago. And some should ask, what happened to this society? And then I would say that, okay, so then the media, the power of the media, and then so many other factors. But then they said in their accounts that they just came across a bunch of students, female students, and then they together chanted "Woman, Life, Freedom." There were other areas of Iran that the slogan "Long Live the Shah" was never heard. The cities in like Baluchistan, the Baluch ethnic minorities, some cities in Kurdistan, not all of them. So I think one should be so careful in saying that people of Iran or the young generation are all considering Pahlavi as leaders. I'm not just denying that he has a vast followership, but then but one would actually also ask themselves that, okay, what happened to so many other people inside the country who have fought for freedom and democracy for years and now are in jail or being silenced? What happened to them? Why Iran, as a very, very culturally rich country, has produced only one person, one man, who happens to be the son of the Shah, who was overthrown by the people of Iran?
Thank you, Shadi Jan. I think you raised a very, very important point.
Can I add something?
Just one.
About women life freedom is so important because I'm afraid, because sometimes when criticizing, we are deleting this slogan. Actually, this slogan, nobody can delete it at all in Iranian culture. I think all the slogans comes from living. It's not just for chanting. I think in the women life freedom is the three part, women life freedom. Always I'm saying the first part, the women, which is that time before the Mahsa Amini, so many girls not in the big city, metropole city, in the little city is still just, I'm giving the one static from little village from the northeast of Iran. Just in 1 month, 11 girls, they burn themselves. When you are burning yourself, it means you're screaming through your body to tell everybody, I'm not capable to live in this under the patriarchal system. If the women life freedom happened, I think in Mahsa Amini, just we leave the first part. Just we experience the first part, women came in the street and they burned their scarf. They burn the scarf, it means a lot. You can't imagine, because still we were under so much suppression of the patriarchal system. Is not just exists as a state, as exists in our family, exists in our lives. And that time, I think the women take the first step for this slogan, and they lived. What does it mean? They burn this scarf. In this time, I'm not giving this times for any person to belong of this guy, the other guy. But I'm saying this time, I think it was the second part. They burned the mosques. I'm not happy with burning any places. But they burned the mosque. Who burned the mosque? The men's, they did it. Why? I'm saying the men's did it because if they burned the mosque or some things like that, became like the Farkhondi in Afghanistan, the people stoned her and they burned her, just little girl, just because of she said something. I think burning the mosque is the second of part of this slogan. Why it's so important for me? Because the Iranian man for 47 years, at least 50 years, they had the benefit of Islamic Republic. Why they had the benefit? Because as a woman, my life value worth just half of the men. The Iranian men for at least 50 years leave the benefit to having the Islamic Republic. Because when I'm getting married, I'm losing all my rights, travel, study, everything you have. You became part of the property of the men. And this mosque, this Sharia, everything comes from there. When they are burning there, for me, is the same as burning the scarf.
That's a very interesting.
This slogan, we are leaving it, not chanting. And nobody can really delete it. Nobody can deny it. And nobody take as it's mine. It's for everybody. The first part, we leave in Mahsa Jina Amini. Second part, the men show they don't need this benefit anymore. They are kicking out when the real law came, when the law came, we are looking for that. We are looking for the equality for the men and women. Why I should be a part of the men's property? Why I'm losing all of my right for my body even? And the last section is the freedom. Definitely, I'm thinking, I'm not separating. I'm thinking the first one happened second, and we are going for the last part. And definitely it will be happened. And the last things about sorry, this is so important. I love to tell to Shadi, all those peoples inside Iran, okay, as an opposition, they are my best friend. They are in prison. I was with them inside the prison. Always, I'm having just one criticizing them. When 25 people is inside prison and 5 of them could be a leader, but when something's happening, we never see them get together and give the one statement. Each time we have a 5 statement with 25 people inside of prison. When the people can't get together, they can't make their own collection and they write something. And just the young generation says, we don't see anybody else. This is so important.
Yeah, because it's overcrowded by Pahlavi and Pahlavi supporters. That's why there's no space for anyone.
Sorry. I think this is extremely interesting, but it's late, and I think you made very good points. I think one very great point that Shadi you made is, beside everything else, is how heterogeneous Iranian society is and how different people are unified in this very rich and huge country. And I think that's sometimes forgotten, especially outside of Iran. And Mahnaz, thank you for this analysis of women, life, freedom. And I think, we saw that also opinions within the opposition in Iran are quite diverse. And I think that's a very, very good sign and something that is very special about Iran. But on the other hand, it's also maybe very typical for progressive groups that there are many opinions and it's difficult to unify them. There were 2 more questions, and I would like to come to them also and then slowly come to an end. The one question was about the safety of those who participated in the film and who are not living outside of Iran. And maybe, Mahnaz, you can talk about this. And then I would ask you both what you expect from the international community, but I would both ask you to be short.
Sure, sorry. Who's in the film without the cover, they choose by themselves, because everybody, I'm sure they ask for to cover themselves, but these people even under some dialogues, they are saying, one of them, they are saying, I'm so shameful, I'm covering myself when I'm seeing the people coming without that. It was belong of them, and they made a decision. We are not making the decision. Who's there? They choose by themselves. Sure.
But did anybody have repressions after this? Were there people imprisoned?
Shadi, if you want.
So after the tribunal, those who testified by their face or their names, and even those who lived outside Iran faced some kind of reprisal. And the families who were based in Iran, some or called by the security forces. There was a case of a father who is shown at the beginning of the film. He, I guess he also sentenced by the Revolutionary Court, and he spent sometimes in detention, but then he was released. Others who were based outside Iran, their families received threats and faced intimidation and harassment by the government. So that's why a few months after the hearing, we together with I think over 30 human rights international and Iranian human rights organizations asked the UN to urge the Iranian government to stop these reprisal acts. But then, yes, so this is a usual method that the Islamic Republic use against anyone who speak out. It doesn't matter if it takes place in a tribunal or through an interview with media.
Thank you. Maybe you want to start on the final round about what you expect from, or what you would wish for from the international community. How can the world support the Iranian protests now?
Close all the Iranian embassy in any country out of Iran, because they don't have legitimacy. Nobody recognizes them as a states anymore. And I think it's the end. Just they believe the Iranian people, they rise up for own. And I think this is the time for their action. Just close all the embassies and not let them, any Iranian politician for anything go for the parliaments or anywhere. Just close all the doors. This is the end. This is a criminal state. Everybody is asking, any Iranian asking. This is so important. Shadi Jan.
I would say just understand. I would just say because as Mahnaz said, there are some actions that have been called by so many Iranians, not only this time, but also during the Women Life Freedom movement. Closing down the embassies was one of them. Listing the IRGC was and designating it as a terrorist organization was another. But then, so that there are some actions that have been demanded, and now the people are asking for the international community to fulfill its responsibility when crimes against humanity is being committed. That is called responsibility to protect, R2P, which is an effective intervention, not necessarily military intervention, but an intervention that stops crime being committed. But at the same time, I'm saying that, okay, so these calls exist, sorry. These calls exist, but I'm not hopeful at all that the international community take any of those actions. Even the actions that they took during Women Life Freedom protests, they are now hesitating to do so. Let alone more radical actions such as closing down the embassies that they were so clear, the Europeans were so clear about that during Women Life Freedom protests, that they were not going to do that. So I would have a message for the left, for the progressive forces. Only try to understand the complexities and to understand the fact that Iranian people deserve freedom and democracy. And this is a demand that is unified with whatever political opinion they would have. So the right place to stand is to stand with the Iranian people, is to stand, it's not to justify the crimes that are committed by the regime against the Iranian people, not to fall within the narrative of the regime, which is now trying to influence the progressive forces, the left in general, saying that portraying all the protesters as the agents of Mossad, as the forces of the Israeli government. And then by that, delegitimizing and discrediting their very, very legitimate cause. So I think having an understanding would something that I would ask like the international community, or better say, the progressive forces to do. Just trying to, it's not a very black and white situation. And unfortunately, as I mentioned, wrote something on my X, unfortunately, we Iranian have never been perfect victims for the left.
Thank you very much for this call for understanding. I hope that this film and the screenings of this film can actually contribute to that. I mean, that was the purpose, to share information, to share reliable sources, and to start a conversation. I apologize to those of you who had problems connected with the connection. Apparently, the servers were a bit overwhelmed by you all joining us. But don't worry, the film will remain online. So we decided to keep it online at least until the internet is back, because we also want to organize an online screening for people inside of Iran and continue this conversation. So please don't despair, but get active, because I think that's one of the important things that we all can do here in Europe, to actually amplify the voices in Iran and to amplify what is happening there. So please contact us if you want to organize a screening in your office or in your community, or just with some friends at home. Spread the word. You get from us the download link and free materials to advertise your event if you want to do so. We are very happy that many have already done so. So there are screenings prepared, and I now need to read this, in Norway, France, Mexico, Canada, Germany, Austria, Belgium, Switzerland, and the Netherlands. So please continue this and spread the word and show solidarity. Inform people, also share the link. People can, as you say, still watch it. Mahnaz and Shadi, thank you very much for your time. I wish you and your families, especially those in Iran, all the best. And I hope very soon that it will be a brighter future for the people of Iran. Anna, thank you so much for being the voice of the audience and for all the technical support. And I wish you all a lovely evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Khudafis.
Have a lovely evening.
Thank
Please,
you.
reminder, contact us if you want to organize a screening with the film. As Anna said, it's unique that a filmmaker offers a film for free, and I think documentaries have the power to show the complexity of a situation, and that the world is not black and white, and the human emotions behind behind political issues. So please use this opportunity and
I think
film and the message with your.
Who wants to know who's the Islamic Republic, just watch this film. They will understand, give the portrait of who's the real Islamic Republic.
Oh yeah, and a little advertisement for another film that this lady on my screen above me made. Roya will start at the Berlinale on the 18th of February, and I can wholeheartedly recommend it, and really, really recommend that you watch it, because I think it's another really great puzzle stone in understanding Iran better. I remember when I stayed in Iran the first time, whenever I had the feeling understood and figured out how Iran works, something happened where I realized I have no idea. So I think you need, as an outsider, a lot of films and texts and brilliant scholars and experts and filmmakers like yourselves to understand the situation better. So thank you again for sharing your really valuable expertise and experience and perspective with us. And I hope we will do this many more times in the future. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
So the live stream is off.
Okay.